Hi, and welcome to Simon Hales. My name is Simon, and if this is your first time tuning in to my channel here on YouTube, thank you so much for doing that. This is a relatively new channel, and the intention really of this channel is for me to share my healing journey as it unfolds and evolves. And in the hope that offers you support and guidance in your healing journey, and also to make myself available in my capacity as a healer, which I've been doing now for about 12 years. I'm based in Thailand, in Koh Samui. I have a beautiful healing center here in Koh Samui called Anahata. So if you ever find yourself in Samui and you'd like to take some time out from the kind of stresses of modern life and just retreat into a kind of wellness-oriented environment, then I'd love to welcome you here. So yesterday I just kind of started to touch on the subject of law of attraction with you, which to me plays a really important role in the journey of healing. Really just kind of understanding how everything that we experience outside of ourselves really is a physical manifestation of what's going on internally. So often we're looking to change what's going on out there, the relationship that's no good, the finances that are no good, the work situation, the living situation, whatever it is, and whilst we're constantly trying to change out there, if we don't change within, out there is always going to keep reappearing. The characters in the movie of your life might change, and the specifics of the situations might change, but the themes will always continue. Whether it's the abusive relationships or the or the lack of wealth and abundance, the poor health, whatever it is. But there's something that I wanted to talk about today that is a recurring theme with so many of the clients that I work with, which is to do with time and money. There seems to be people seem to really kind of intrinsically relate the two together. I mean, I guess we're very much conditioned into believing that time is money. That's a saying, isn't it, that we use a lot, that time is money. There's been movies about that. There was one that I watched a while ago with, I think, Justin Timberlake. I think it was called In Time, or About Time, In Time. And that was it was an interesting movie, actually. And in the movie, so it's kind of like set in the future in some really kind of post-apocalyptic version of reality, in almost like a kind of Hunger Games society, where there's the elite few that live in one kind of zone or area, and then the masses that live almost at the other end of the spectrum in poverty. And the currency in this movie is time. And as I remember, each person that's born has an amount of time credited into their time account, let's say. And this time account is actually recorded. They have like this kind of like built-in clock into their wrist here. And as I remember, this clock doesn't activate till they're like 18 or 20 years old, something like that. And and they have a credit of a certain amount of years, I think it is. So they're kind of guaranteed that when this clock starts counting, that they're going to live for, let's say, a further 20 years or something like that. And then the currency in this movie is the time. So even if they're catching the bus, they have to like kind of scan their wrist where this counter is, this clock. And maybe a bus journey is going to cost them 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. And then when they work, then they get credited. So the characters, the people in this movie, they're like constantly under this stress of time. If you haven't watched it, and that sounds interesting, do watch it. In fact, talking about it again, yeah, I'd like to watch it again. It's been some time. I think it was out in like 2009, 2010, something like that. Justin Timberlake, yeah, he was the main character. So, time is money. And, you know, what these two have in common, and it's something that I kind of started talking about yesterday, is scarcity, or the illusion of scarcity that we are led to believe. And yesterday, in the last video, I was remembering that game that we used to play when we were children back in England at parties, where there'd be like a circle of chairs, and let's say there was 20 people at this party. There'd be 19 chairs in the circle. The music would play, all the kids would dance around. When the music stopped, you had to sit in a chair. But of course, there was always less chairs than there were kids. So each time the music stopped and everyone rushed to sit down, then there'd be, you know, one or two kids without a chair, and they'd be out of the game. And then the music would start again, and a few more chairs were taken away, and the process was repeated until eventually there was one chair and two kids, and eventually one child would be able to sit down, and that child would be the winner. And really, that's a great metaphor for the way that we're conditioned for life, that this is constant scarcity, and that we must compete with each other for the resources. And as I say, the two really big resources that people seem to have a lot of kind of concern and fear around are money and time. And so I just wanted to share my perspective on money and time, my understanding of money and time, which is that really both of those are actually completely illusory. Money is a form of exchanging our energy. I guess in its most healthy form, that's what it is. So I'm a healer. So if someone comes to me for healing, they will pay me for that hour and a half session, whatever it is, an agreed amount of money. And then I can go and use that money, say, to buy some fruit and vegetables or something like that. So in its most basic form, kind of money works like that. But of course, we live or many of us live in this world where we're constantly bombarded with what we perceive as the need to accumulate stuff, whether it's kind of material stuff or experiences, be it holidays or swimming with dolphins or eating at the best restaurants, whatever it is. And we're constantly really being persuaded that without doing these things or owning these things, that we're not enough, that we're inadequate. So again, there's a scarcity there. There's a scarcity in our belief in ourselves, in our adequacy. And then that leads to this constant belief that we need more, and we need money for those things. And then because this system has been created where we have to work for our money, and our work, for the most part, is measured in time. We get paid by this thing called time. Then these things all become interconnected, and we're constantly playing this game of musical chairs. And, you know, one of the best things that I did, probably about 15 years ago now, I was on a Tantra retreat back in England, and just for the convenience of the retreat, really, I took off my watch, and I was really attached to my watch. It was a very expensive Swiss watch, and you know, it had certain value to me in terms of it, you know, as a status symbol, as an achievement, etc., etc. And but I took this watch off for the retreat, and I never put it on again. And I just kind of realized how unnecessary it was. Unnecessary, not just because I could find out the time if I wanted, you know, the clock time by other means, but actually that clock time was, again, completely illusory. And it's just a measurement. If you think of clock time as a measurement, in the same way that your height is a measurement, now you don't go around all the time thinking about your height or quoting your height or your weight or your waist girth or, you know, or whatever kind of measurement. So this idea of measuring this kind of passage of our experience is completely man-made and illusory. And I'm sure you've noticed that this thing that we call time is a very subjective experience. You know, there are occasions when time seems to pass quickly, and there's occasions when time seems to pass more slowly. And in my experience, it passes more slowly when I'm, let's say, waiting for something. And it goes more quickly when I'm in the moment and I'm enjoying and I'm excited. So there seems to be a relationship between our being present and just kind of being in the flow, or the degree to which we're present and in the flow, or the degree to which we're in resistance. You know, so the resistance comes from, and this is, I talked in the last video about resistance. When we're wanting something, when we feel that we need something, we want something. So let's say, you know, you've just met, you know, the man, the woman of your dreams, and you've exchanged phone numbers, and you're waiting for the phone to ring or the message. And if you sit and you're like looking at your phone, waiting for that, that's going to be an eternity. It's going to feel like an eternity. Whereas if in the same situation there's that kind of lack of attachment, it's like, wow, I really feel such a great potential connection with this person, and you know, I very much look forward to connecting more with them. But in the meantime, I'm unattached to the outcome of this situation because I'm already feeling good. I'm already feeling happy. I'm already feeling content in my life. Then, and you're not just kind of like looking at the phone waiting for it to ring. Then that phone call is going to come like that, you know, or that message. So time is a very, very subjective experience and very much related to the degree to which we are open to receiving what is due to us, or the degree to which we're in resistance. So I hope that makes sense, and I think I've explained that how I wanted to explain it. So often I get so much clarity about certain things, and then when I sit down in front of the particularly in front of the camera to communicate these things, it doesn't always necessarily kind of come out the way that I wanted it to. But yeah, I hope that gets the message across. So I would really encourage you to, if you do wear some kind of timekeeping device like a watch, I know these days people like to wear these kind of almost like mini computer things on the wrist, I really encourage you to let go of it. At least try it, commit to a week of that and see what happens, And when it comes to money, we need to let go of our belief that we need money to experience the experiences that life has for us, and that we need money to receive what is needed for that journey. And also we need to let go of the belief that we're inadequate, that we're not good enough, so that we need to accumulate stuff to find our worth and our value. And isn't it interesting that we use the word value there, and then we use the word value in relationship to money? So, I can't help really feeling that these words have been used intentionally to manipulate us through this perception of scarcity, and these two tools seem to be the kind of main culprits, let's say, of or the main weapons even that are used against us to keep us in this kind of state of, or belief of, scarcity. So I'd like to end this short message really just with a reminder that there is absolutely no scarcity at all, and that the degree to which we receive the abundance that is here for us is really in direct correlation to our lack of resistance to receiving that. And the speed at which we receive it is also in direct correlation to that lack of resistance, in the same way that the speed at which we receive the phone call is in direct correlation to our lack of resistance to receiving that phone call. And that resistance, again, is in the form of believing that we want, that we need, that in somehow we are not good enough, that we're inadequate. So I offer healing. I offer healing both here in person and online. And really this is a massive and important part of the healing journey, is this coming to this knowing ourselves to be not just good enough, but to be absolutely magnificent. Each of us is absolutely magnificent. And so this healing journey is really about peeling away those layers of conditioning that tell us that we're not good enough, that we're inadequate, both through our personal experiences, the traumas that we experience during our lifetimes, but also the conditioning that comes through from society, from culture, our families, our schooling, our religions, etc., you know. So we peel away all these layers through the healing process. And yeah, if that resonates with you and you feel that you'd like support in that healing journey, then that's my purpose. That's why I've been put here, is to do that. So if that's the case, please do reach out to me. My email address is in the link below, or send me a comment in the comments, and then we can connect privately and discuss how I may be able to best support you in that healing journey. So thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, blessings from Koh Samui here in Thailand. Namaste.